Okay, so we're sort of just like to say hello to everyone who's already on the call on Zoom, and Facebook's just starting up. We haven't officially begun yet. We're going to have 10 minutes of just letting people join in, I think. So before we officially start, just wanted to talk about this last month or so and this whole year, which has been extraordinarily challenging for just about everybody I know. It's been like, I don't know how you describe it, but like it's a long tunnel. And there's light at the end of it somewhere, but I don't know, there's a lot of things in between me and the light at the moment. And, you know, I carry around my own light within myself, so I'm okay. But it's this year, astrologically, I know that's not something most vets talk about, but it's been beyond challenging. There's been a lot going on. And we're right in the middle of a Venus retrograde at the moment, which is all about relationships. So Venus has just gone out of Scorpio and back into Libra, which means that things are going to get a little bit easier for a while until Venus goes back into Scorpio in December, I think, when she turns around and heads back. So, yeah, it's been a tough week. It's been an emotional week for me, and I know it has for Bianca too. She's lost one of her beautiful little doggy friends, and I'm really, you know, thanks so much for being on the call anyway. That's awesome. Okay, so we're just sort of placeholding here for a little bit until we get everyone on. Right, unmute Bianca because you're muted. Can I hear you, Bianca? Just check, do a sound check.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's all good. You're unmuted.
Fantastic.
It's all a bit of just technical faffle for the beginning of these things until we get rolling. So far, we've got 2 people on the Zoom with us and about 4 or 5 people on Facebook. So anyone who's on Facebook, I see there's a little eye icon's got 5 people. Please do drop in and say hello in the comments. Amanda said hello. Hello, Amanda. Nice to see you. Bianca vanished for a moment there. He's just back again. So while we're waiting, it's probably good just to take a moment to settle into our bodies, to really bring all of our awareness into our physical being, okay? Now, and feel whatever's there. There's no need to change what's there. There's no need to even understand it. It's just really, really important to be present with whatever sensations are in our physical bodies. And that can be physical sensations. They can be comfortable or uncomfortable sensations. Doesn't matter. Just allow yourself to sense and feel them. And of course, they can be emotional sensations. And again, there's no need to actually change anything here or do anything. It's just a matter of being present and witnessing yourself. And this is a beautiful way to connect with yourself and start to listen to yourself and communicate with yourself. It's a really good thing to do, to be really still and quiet and accept whatever's going on. You know, without labeling or telling stories about these feelings, because in our society we have a whole swag of patterning from way before birth that tells us that certain emotions and feelings are bad. And none of them are bad, they all just are. So if there's grief, if there's anger, if there's jealousy, you know, all these emotions that we get told are bad, again, just be with them, just feel them. No need to do anything with them. And if you feel like taking a deep breath, that's a good sign that your nervous system is actually responding. We've got Amanda with Lenny, who's a lovely dog that I saw last week with arthritis. Lenny's apparently the first vet he's let touch him. He's got a traumatic background. And Marina's just joined as well on Facebook. Just got back to Zoom. And Catherine Lewis says hello. Hello, Catherine. I'm sure there'll be some new people that I don't know that are from Bianca's network, and I'd like to welcome all of you guys as well. And as I said, I'm just sort of place filling for a bit here. I'm really excited about today's call. I've sort of been not completely open with how much I work intuitively and psychically and with energy healing and stuff like that as a veterinarian. And so this is sort of, it's really great to have someone else to help me crack open that door. I'm going to talk more in an upcoming Facebook Live about energy healing with animals, which is something that, okay, let's go soon. Say hello to whoever that is. You're muted, so I can't hear you. I'm going to keep you muted for the moment, and I'm going to stop your video. But thanks for dropping in. So anyone who joins on Zoom, I'm going to be keeping you muted and camera off until we get to the point where we open up the questions and Bianca's actually going to communicate live with a couple of animals, which is going to be awesome. How are you feeling, Bianca?
I'm feeling excited and yeah, a bit of mixed emotions today. It's been an interesting, challenging, emotional week, having had to say goodbye to one of my dogs 2 months after saying goodbye to one of my other dogs. So it's been quite interesting, and I actually shared this morning as well that I was contemplating not to be here today, but that was really doing a disservice to all the animals and the world, really, for not showing up and not sharing the important work that you do, Edward, and that I do as well for all the animals out there. So it was really important for me to be here today and really share what we're both so passionate about, which is the love for animals that we have.
And thanks very much for that. There may be tears today, I think, and if there are, that's okay, because I'm feeling like crying at the moment. I'm very empathic, so I feel what's going on with other people and animals and stuff like that. But that's okay, you know. It's the other thing that you know, we're just in the pre-conversation here before we really kick off at 15 in a couple of minutes. But the other thing I've learned this year, which has been personally challenging, is a really interesting thing. So feelings, when you get into intuitive work, feelings for me are really at the root of all intuitive work. And the problem with feelings and emotions is if you suppress uncomfortable ones, you suppress all the good ones too. So to really live this human life and to be fully human and experience everything you can, you have to experience discomfort, emotion. There's no way around it. And the other thing I found out this year, which is really good and exciting and kind of cool, is that the fear of feeling the emotions is always worse than actually feeling them. So we've got 30 seconds.
May I just ask everybody on the call on Zoom to just mute their sound?
I've done that.
And yeah, great. Just so we don't have much feedback going on.
Okay, yeah, I'll be on top of that. Are you? I can hear you, Bianca.
Yes.
That's good, because it keeps telling me you're muted when you're not. Okay, I think we can begin. So I'd like to now formally, we've had a bit of a pre-conversation while we're just doing all the technical stuff, and the other thing I need to do at this moment is to hit record so that we do get a record of this show, otherwise that's bad.
Beautiful. Excellent.
Okay, so we're ready to go, we're ready to roll. Hi, I'm Dr. Edward, the Healing Vet. Hello, Julie, and there's someone who Zoom here is called PC. I'm not sure what your first name is. And Sue on Zoom as well. And I'll just click back over to Facebook. I'm going to be clicking backwards and forth a bit. Said hello to a few people. Catherine Lewis says hello and has got a Bella Border Collie. Shelley's joined. Lily's giving us a wave. Thank you, Lily. And Lynley O'Loughlin's there from WA. Sharon says hello. Shelley says she's still getting some feedback, so I hope that's stopped now that I've muted everybody else. So could someone just tell me if there's any feedback still happening in comments? That would be great. Okay, so I'm Dr. Edward, the Healing Vet, and this is the Healing Vet Facebook page, and we're live today with Bianca de Reus. I don't know how to say her last name. Should have checked. How do you say it?
It's Bianca de Reus.
De Reus.
Yes.
Okay. Bianca is an animal communicator and works with soul connection and intuitive things like that. She's also a freshly minted author. She's just got a brand new book come out, and we'll probably talk a little bit about how you can get your fingers on that at the end of the show. But Bianca, could you just introduce yourself quickly and maybe give us a summary of how you got into this whole animal communication thing?
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here today. It's really great to be here and to answer any questions that there are. And hopefully we can connect with one or two beautiful animals today as well. So I live in Sydney, Australia, and I am an animal communicator and a soul connection mentor. And I particularly help animal lovers to truly connect with their animal friends. I have found over the years that a lot of people are struggling with the fact that they can't hear their animals. And we all would love to find out what happens behind those beautiful eyes when they look at us. And so by chance or by fate, don't know exactly what that was, I was approached by a snake in 2011 who told me that I needed to go out into the world and do my job. And that was the world of animal communication and animal healing. So I explored what that was all about, really went into my own heart to find out what my purpose is. And so I ended up doing this work, which has been amazing ever since. I've worked with a lot of beautiful animals, including horses, dogs, cats, birds, lizards, and it's been a beautiful ride so far, and it's continuing on. So, yeah.
Awesome. So how did you learn how to do this?
It happened at a time where I was already exploring my spiritual abilities, and I was very short before that attuned as a Reiki master. So the healing abilities were already quite present, and I was applying Reiki already to animals and also to other people and myself. And so that was already an area where I started to learn a lot about, because when I started Reiki, I did not know much about it. And I did not know much about how do we actually connect to ourselves? How do we connect to all that is in terms of the spiritual realms, the healing abilities that we have, and being able to have a stronger connection with others. And so when I got into the Reiki, that opened up quite a lot for me. And when I started connecting with animals, and in particular when that snake approached me, I was quite taken aback, because it was like, oh my God, I'm hearing voices in my head now. Apart from having all these experiences spiritually and with the healing and the Reiki, I thought, oh, well, this is it. This tops it, right? Having now voices in my head as well. And so I started to explore more about that, thinking, what is this about? Why am I all of a sudden listening to a snake? Why am I all of a sudden hearing a lizard? And when I came home, all of a sudden I could hear my dogs talk as well. In particular, Toby, he was extremely excited that all of a sudden I could hear him. So this overflow of information came in.
So you actually hear as in like a voice?
Yes. So I hear the voice specifically, and I also feel what they feel. So I sense their energy. And by being able to tap into that and hearing their voice, I find out exactly how they feel, what they're thinking, and what we can do for them. And so I've also done workshops around that and got certified as an animal communicator as well, just to get my analytical mind around what was happening spiritually. So I learned practically how to do this, and that has helped me to teach other people as well, because you find out your own groove, and you probably have the same. And when you heal the animals as well, and when you work with the animals, you perhaps learn certain things in a certain way, but you also find your own groove in that, and you apply your own technique, what really suits you to be able to open up in that way. So it's a really interesting connection, because there is a combination of things that are happening during that connection with the animal. It's, for me personally, it's definitely the hearing and then the feeling.
Okay.
But I also sometimes see images. Yep. And there is a bit of telepathy happening in that sense too. Okay. And on the rare occasion, the animal also allows me to merge with their energy, so that it feels like I'm actually part of their body, and they can show me around where they are. And that has helped me to find animals who've been lost, helped me to identify what environment they're in, helped me to identify the environment's impact on how the animal feels or behaves. So there's a variety of things that can happen during a connection like that. But it's almost, for me, like I'm having a conversation, like I'm having a conversation with you now.
Okay, that's really interesting. So my understanding is that our, what some people would call extrasensory, I think is actually our natural birthright that we've had squished out of us by this human jungle thing that we get beaten up by when we're little. So just to explain a little bit my understanding, so there's a whole lot of spiritual senses.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of, you know, I heard a really good definition of spiritual recently from a close friend of mine, and he said that the original sort of definition of spiritual is everything that's non-physical, which I thought was really interesting and very, very broad connection. So, and, you know, people talk about clairvoyance, which is seeing things, clairaudience, which is hearing things, clairsentience, which is knowing stuff, just knowing that you have no way that you could possibly know, but you do. And the other one is kinesthetic, feeling. So like you said, feeling stuff. And for me, I'm just about all kinesthetic.
Yes, exactly. And you're absolutely right in saying that it is some sort of birthright as well. However, I've also learned that everybody, when we were born, we already were so spiritually connected.
Yes.
You know, so there was no choice. There is no, okay, I am spiritually connected or not. We are still, you know. However, by what we experience, that connection may be put in a distance or pushed backwards, because we have a human experience. And for some people that goes away, usually throughout sort of like when you start to hit your teenage years, because your body goes through all these different changes. And so for some people that is then removed or put into the background, so to speak, out of the vision, and it comes back later on. And for some people that stays away, but that's also what you decide to do in this lifetime.
Yeah.
So that's why I say everybody can do this type of work, whether that's talking to animals, whether that's being a clairvoyant, whether that's being a healer. Everybody can do this. It's just literally tapping back into those skills, reconnecting with your soul to be able to open yourself up to that knowledge and reminding yourself of those skills.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And, you know, everyone's different too in terms of the spectrum of the way they sense things intuitively. Excuse me, someone else has just popped into Zoom, so I just may have to pop over here and do a little bit of admin work. Stop video. Okay, so that's a good welcome, Ruth, who's just dropped in. Yeah, so we're all so beautifully different, you know, but at the core of it, I think my sort of understanding of it anyway with my journey, I didn't have any idea about any of this stuff till I got really sick. and had to explore things like energy healing to get somewhat better. And that cracked open all sorts of stuff. But I think it all comes back to empathy, the feeling of the experience of another being within your own body, for me.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, empathy plays a massive big role in this process, and being able to really tuning into what you are feeling as well when you are around other people and the animals for us. It's exploring that and having fun with that, you know, and not pushing it either, because when we push it, it doesn't happen. And
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
all about allowing that flow to come through as well. And being empathetic is fantastic because we can really tune into what these people are going to experience or are experiencing in those moments. However, for ourselves and us being empaths and being so sensitive, we also need to make sure that our energies are not drained while we do this work. Because that is a big risk for us being empaths and being so connected, that the risk is that we give so much out, and sometimes we don't know how much energy we give out, and then we deplete ourselves, and therefore we can't do the work that we are meant to be doing. So being an empath is great because it allows us to do this work, and it allows us to really be focused on the individual that we're working with, and whether that's an animal or a person, it doesn't matter in my mind. We're all soul beings. However, we do it in a way that helps us as well to regain our energy and to keep our energy. Because sometimes we don't use, okay, let me rephrase this. We don't use our own energy to heal other people. Yes. Or heal animals, yes. Right? Yes. However, we fall into that trap that we sometimes do give our own energy because we want to help so much. And that's part of us being an empath. We really want to help. That's what we thrive on. But we can't give our own energy to the other person or animal. It has to be the universal energy that we are filtering through. We are the conduit for that healing energy. Yes, and therefore we don't use our own energy.
So we fill ourselves up to overflowing with the healing energy, and then
exactly
that flows into the other people.
Yeah.
So I wasn't, this is unexpected, but I just feel to very quickly do a little meditation on that very thing. So all of you who are on the call, we did sort of the start of this. This is part of what I teach in the whole energy body balance system, and you just got to roll with this. When things feel right, you got to do them. So everyone on the call, just take a moment to completely bring all of your awareness into your body, into your physical body. Feel what's there, okay? There's no need to change anything, no need to understand anything. Just be aware of your physical being resting on whatever you're sitting on, any areas of tension, any areas of relaxation, any areas of discomfort and comfort in your body. Simply witness them. Notice what you're feeling emotionally and where it is in your body. Again, simply witness. There's no need to do anything here. Nothing is wrong. Everything is perfect. Doesn't matter if it's comfortable or uncomfortable. Just take a moment to be with it. And now be aware of the space under your feet. Now, underneath our feet, we have our original natural connection to the earth. It's always been there, so we're just remembering this connection. And you may notice a shift in your awareness in your body as you feel yourself reawaken and reconnect with the living energy of Mother Earth. Allow that energy to flow up. It flows up naturally like a spring welling out of the earth, filling up all of your body. And then be aware of the space above your head. And there's another natural connection there to the cosmos, to the all that is. And this has always been there too, so just waking up and reconnecting. Allowing that energy to flow down as well, to fill your body like gentle rain falling from the sky. Then let it gather in your heart and connect with your own heart essence. So that energy will now naturally gather and concentrate in your heart space and flow out through your arms to your hands. And then put your hands on your heart and give it back to yourself. Okay. Now, for me, I can feel a lot of warmth and connection. And in doing this too, there's going to be a connection between all of us who are participating in this call, because us two who are speaking, really, we're connected with all you guys, and a lot of what's happening isn't driven by us at all. It's driven by your presence and your energy pressing upon us. Yeah? I can see Bianca's feeling stuff happening there. She's got physical things going on. I feel like tears coming up, but happy tears. Okay, so I don't know why I felt to do that, but I feel better having done it. But you can do this, anytime you like. This is part of the whole energy body balance method. Then you're overflowing energy to yourself or to everyone around you, rather than, like Bianca said, it's very important not to be using your own resources unless you're like a Qigong master who practices 4 hours a day. Right? Those guys can do that stuff, but us people that don't have that really refined and advanced personal energy management can't do it. Okay, so apologies for taking over there in your call here, but back to you.
Yeah, that was really beautiful. It helps us to recenter as well when we do these activities. Yeah. And it's actually interesting that you said that you felt what I was going through, because I literally had Rosie and Toby come in and actually be here, which is beautiful.
Because I've had Toby sitting about here with me too.
Yeah, his presence has always been really huge. Yeah, and what you were saying about the resources that we have, it's in my mind as well, the danger that you may give something of yourself to another soul during a healing process that doesn't serve the other soul is also something that I'm always really conscious of. And that is why every time when I wake up, before I go into a session, I always make sure that I'm fully connected to source, fully utilizing that energy. Because whatever I'm going through, I don't want anyone else to have. So that's another reason why I'm really conscious of only using that pure universal energy to help the others. And the knowledge that that brings as well is amazing. I've always had people ask me, where do you get that information from? How do you know so much? How do you know that I'm going through that? No idea. Yeah. However, it just comes through.
It's right, because if you don't know anything and if you're empty, then information can appear inside you, right?
It's always been that sort of knowing, and that's the beauty of it. And I don't filter anything either. The conversations I have with animals, I always record them on audio. Sometimes I can't even remember what comes out of that conversation, therefore I record it, because I have a duty to tell or share verbally whatever the animal is telling me, or not necessarily me, whatever the animal is telling their human parent, their human guardian. It is not for me to really listen to that information. I'm literally the conduit in that process. And sometimes it might mean that information comes through that we might not necessarily want to hear.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And you probably have experienced the same thing, where you are healing or working with an animal, and you might get information through as well from that animal, where you just know why that animal is experiencing what they're experiencing in their physical body, where that disease is coming from. And that could very well be related to what we do as the humans around them, because what we do may have that impact on them.
I think one thing I'm coming to really understand is that if I'm working with animals with chronic illness, because the animals are so connected to the human, they're just so open.
Mm.
They're like a little red flag saying, hey, human, look at me, this is your stuff. that I'm expressing here, right? So yeah, I think that I'm going to need to work more and more in terms of opening up to that, because I've repressed a lot of this stuff being a vet, right? Because it's not very acceptable for a vet to be full on with the energy healing and all this stuff that science likes to call woo-woo, because it just hasn't got enough skills to actually understand what's going on yet, you know? So yeah, the thing is that for me, our animals and their problems are very much, they're just a mirror of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed this year, when I've had some really big stuff go on and done really deep personal work, that there's been some dramatic changes in my animals in terms of how they're behaving and how they're interacting with me. So I suppose, you know, one of the valuable things of people, and if anyone on the call wants to contact Bianca for sessions, you know, please do so, because you'll find out things. Your life will change, you know, especially if you're not familiar with this sort of spiritual work.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'd like to ask you now is maybe tell us a couple of stories of how you've helped animals with this work.
Yeah, so one that comes to mind was quite a few years ago, where I worked with a cat, and the cat usually was quite mellow, very chilled. She just hung around, had a favorite spot under the table, and for a few days her behavior started to shift, and she started to become a little bit more aggressive and hissing a lot, especially around one person in the household in particular. But at the time, they didn't really let me know that it was with that one person most of the time. And so they connected with me because they were in basically a last resort. Let's try this, because the vet can't help us. And so I connected up with her, and one of the things, she really resonated with the Reiki. So I thought, okay, let's just calm her down first. So I gave her Reiki energy healing, and she calmed down. And then I go, look, what's going on? What's made this shift in your behavior? Because apparently you've gone from being quite mellow and relaxed to now being hyper, and you're more aggressive and you're tense. And it actually happened that one person in the household had such a stressful experience at the time that every time he came home from work, he started drinking and hit the bottle quite hard. And so that did not have a good influence or impact on the family. And she was witnessing that. And she says, I had to change my behavior because they were not listening. And so that was also the first time when I actually had to tell my client that their behavior had an impact on the cat. And I was like, how am I going to tell them this? This is, you know, I just can't sit here telling them that they need to stop drinking, right? It's not my right to do that. But I had to. I was literally forced by her and by spirit to say, you're going to have to tell them that needs to change. So I asked questions to that person, and I said, look, how is your work going? What are you experiencing at the moment? And then all that sort of stuff came out. And I go, because that's exactly what the issue is. You started drinking, and that doesn't have a good impact on the family, you know, in the least on you. So he started changing that. And once that started to happen, the cat started to change back to what she would normally do, which is being quite mellow and relaxed. So that was a massive learning for all of us involved, that yes, animals are our mirror. Sometimes not even our mirror, they literally change their behavior, because then we're finally paying attention to what we need to change or shift. And that was a very, almost a turning point for me, where I said to myself, okay, I really need to share everything that the animals are telling me. And that's also where I started to work with people themselves. You know, how can I help you with those shifts? And because of my coaching experience and my training history as well, that became a really great alignment too. So I don't only work with the animals, although that's where it starts. I also end up working with the people around them. And that becomes a really good relationship, a really great teamwork for a while, to make sure that all souls are having a fantastic experience living together.
Yeah.
And that's really where that comes down to as well, is for us to have that awesome relationship, and at the same time teaching people how do you actually better connect with your animals, so that, I mean, I'm talking myself out of a job because I'm teaching people how to do this, but it's all about us having that connection heart to heart with other people, but more so with the animals that we live with. And then it becomes a beautiful relationship, and you just understand each other like that.
Look, I'm sure I've lost some clients over the years by telling them things they need to hear. And
yes.
And, and that's okay, because, you know, I agree with you. If stuff comes up once you sort of open up to more spiritual stuff, it's like something takes over your voice and you say stuff and inside you go, what the hell did I just say?
Yeah, exactly. And it happens, it's like, whoa, what am I saying? Where's that coming from? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But those are the things that need to be said in those moments. And that's exactly what you're saying. That's driven by spirit. Yeah. It's driven by that, you know, that higher energy field that's out there. And when people are ready to hear it, they listen and they love it. And they take it on board. And people who are not ready, they'll be closed off to it. However, I usually say, this is great. You know, I've got this sort of information for you. Have a listen to it. Let me know what resonates. If it doesn't resonate right now, it will resonate later down the track. Yeah. You know, so, because not everything is being absorbed in those moments. Because also people are so focused on their animal, because their animal is in pain or has a behavior that they are really stressed out about and frustrated with. And usually I'm the last person that they resort to, because they've been down the track of perhaps a dog trainer and a vet, and they've been to, you know, other different modalities that they've tried. And so when they come to me, they're usually at their wit's end, going, I really don't know what to do anymore. You know, can you please help? And sometimes it is absolutely that what they do that impacts that animal. And if they take it on, beautiful, great, let's get started. Let's get into action and help your animal and you at the same time.
Yeah. The other thing that something you said made me think a minute ago was how, you know, to do this sort of work, you actually have to accept that animals have feelings and thoughts and a little independent being, very much like an experience of life, very much like our own.
Yes.
Which our society generally has patterned us to think of animals as a bit more like machines, right? They're there for humans to do whatever they want with, whether it be to mistreat them or make them do stuff or farm them for food or whatever. And I see this too somewhat with, I see it a lot actually with clients, in that they use their animals for emotional support.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they treat them like an infant, their dogs, like they think they would treat an infant if they've never had a child. Because once you've had a kid, I tell you what, you find out that having a child is a lot different than having a dog. And I think a lot of humans have this glorified emotional idea of what it's like to have an infant, and then they overlay that over their pets, and it doesn't do their pets any good at all.
No, I mean, animals are soul beings. They're sentient beings. They often are at a higher vibrational level than we are at. And that means that they are at a higher energy level and operate from that space. All they know is what's happening right now. Yeah. And all they know is that they live from the heart. Every animal lives from the heart, and they do have instinct, you know, especially when they're out in the wild. So absolutely. Domesticated animals may not have that strong instinct anymore because we care for them, we look after them. And it is so easy to have your dogs, cats, guinea pigs, whatever animal you have in your house, to treat them like a child. And I'm guilty of that, absolutely. Mm-hmm. You know, they were my fur babies, my fur kids. And you do treat them like that. But there are instances where there's still a dog, there's still a cat, still a guinea pig, right? So you don't treat them exactly the same as you would your children. Children are humans, different to animals. However, we are all soul beings, and we all have an experience in a physical body, no matter what shape that body is, no matter how much hair, fur, feathers, or skin that body has. In that respect, we are all the same, and we are all equal as well. Yet animals have intuitively that way of living that they tune into all that is, and that's love, unconditional love. And that's sometimes really sad as well, because like we talked about earlier, they are our mirror. They sometimes take on what we experience, and that's certainly not to their benefit, but they want to take it away from us because they love us so much. So they do take on our dis-ease, our discomforts, our anxiety, our stress, right?
I don't like saying that they take it on. I sort of more think of it as they're so open that they resonate with us like two tuning forks.
Mm.
You know, I might be wrong too on that one, but I suppose the reason that I talk about it that way is that often, if people think that they're impacting their animals harmfully, there can be a lot of guilt and self-blame and
absolutely.
And
yes.
So that's the sort of way I've come to explain it to people. Is more like, you know, your animal's just so open that how you are affects them, and it's not that you're doing anything or that they're taking it on, but it happens, and you need to look at it, and instead of beating yourself up, maybe start doing some things to change yourself.
Yes. Yeah. And it's not that we're putting it on them, it's that animal choosing to take it away from us sometimes.
Yeah, that can happen.
You know, and that can certainly happen. And I've heard stories as well where a person is cured from cancer and then a month later the dog passes away from the same cancer.
Okay, that's interesting.
That has happened in the past. I have experienced animals who have the same level of anxiety that their human parent has.
I got that all the time.
Right, yeah, exactly. So it's nothing for us to feel guilty about. It's just recognizing it, becoming aware of it, and utilizing your skills, knowledge, and your abilities to letting them know that that's what's happening. And the same for me, for them to hear it from me as well, you know, so that they can be aware of it and make those changes.
Yes, and the thing is, to all you guys listening out there, this is necessary work, but it's not easy work. Okay, whenever you start to open up to connecting more and reawakening your sort of spiritual gifts, all the stuff that's happened to you in your life that's in between you and that will come up.
Oh yeah.
So life won't, I'm not going to tell you life is going to get easier, but I can tell you from personal experience that life will get way more beautiful, a whole lot richer, and just more wonderful, even though it's more challenging. So I encourage you all to take a deep breath and step into the void, because it's all kinds of fun out here, dancing around in the nothingness.
Beautiful. Yes, absolutely. I couldn't agree more, for sure. It does open up a whole lot of different experiences that we've had as a human being, and put a really big flashlight on it to work through that. But you come out at the other end feeling amazing and so loving, you know, that you are in a position to give to yourself all the time and then give to others.
And I will say too, you know, even something as seemingly simple as being on this call is more than you might realize, and it could trigger change. If you do get big changes happen, go get help, okay?
Yeah.
You don't need to do this stuff on your own. It's part of being human is being humble enough to ask for help. It's really, really important in this journey of life that if you try to do it on your own, I've done that. Goodness me, it was not much fun.
No.
For a long time, until I realized that as humans, we really are meant to reach out to other humans and ask for help. Okay, so what I think we might do now is take a couple of questions. So if you're on Facebook, you can type in the comments, and I think if you're on Zoom, you can also type in the comments. Let me know Okay, so we're waiting here for you to ask some questions, and I'll just hand them on to Bianca as we go. No questions? Not yet. I know there's a few of you out there, so get typing.
I just see a comment from Ruth come through. Love what you said just now about this beautiful world. I love the connection I have with my animals. It's amazing, Ruth. Now, Ruth is also someone who serves animals in a very beautiful way. She helps the animals through natural healing, and also through proper nutrition for the animals as well. So she's doing amazing work out there. And she's also a lawyer, so she's using those abilities too to stand up for the animal world.
Awesome.
So thank you, Ruth, for being here today and for doing what you do in your life. It's amazing.
Look, everyone seems to be very shy. We're not getting any questions. We got someone just sending love. That's lovely. Thank you, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
It's funny, you know, when I teach, I'm always saying, I need questions, and nobody asks questions.
But that's okay. All good.
It is all good.
Do we have, how many, like, can you see all the names of people that are actually watching?
Oh, goodness. There's mobs on Facebook. Got Amanda, Marina, Catherine, Shelley, Lily, Linley, another Bianca, Nikki, Kate, Maureen, Colette, Sue, Jenny, Julie, Natalie, and Anne. Yeah, so it looks like we're not going to get any questions. Oh well.
Okay.
It's always worth a try.
I see Sue coming through with a question.
Yeah? What's the question?
She's saying, resonating with you both this morning. Thank you. Bianca, with your courses, how do you teach people to communicate with our animals? What are the basics?
Good question.
I teach people from a very practical level because I'm pretty practical, quite down to earth. My background's in corporate finance, so can you imagine the world of difference? So for me, I'm very much into the space of, I want to do it in a very simple way and something that is very easy to apply. So that's how I teach as well. And the basics are all about you being able to tap into your own heart first. And to be able to get to a place of quiet. Doesn't mean that you have no thoughts, you know, because that always comes through, but how you work with these thoughts and to come to a place of being centered, connecting to your heart, similar to what Edward just did with that meditation, where you focus on your heart, you put your hands on your heart. And I usually get people to then visualize green light, which is the light, the color of the heart chakra, to surround yourself with that light. And then we send that heart light directly from your heart to the animal that you wish to communicate with. And you say to that animal, I'm sending you green light directly from my heart in the purest form with unconditional love. May I have a conversation with you? May I ask you something? And immediately you will hear, feel, or see whatever your primary receiver is, the affirmation. Yes. But it happens really quick, so be aware, you know, it happens so quickly. So when you hear, feel, or see that confirmation of yes, beautiful. Just in your mind, ask the questions. And whatever comes through immediately, don't analyze it. Because that's a human thing, right? Yes. We want to analyze everything. We want to make sure, oh, is that really true? What I just heard, is that really? Yes. What comes through straight away is usually the right answer that they give you. So I invite you to then write it down or audio record it. And when you do this on an everyday basis, the more you start to hear, the more you may even feel, or maybe they send you pictures. It's also dependent on, you know, how you receive information in the best way possible. Because they speak their own language. They don't speak English to us. However, it's translated somewhere in the ether in a way that we can understand the information that they give us. And that's why it comes through in 1, 2, or perhaps a bit more around that as well. So it's really coming back to yourself first, having the connection with yourself. And that can be a little bit scary sometimes, because on an everyday basis, we don't do this.
Absolutely.
You know, and it can be uncomfortable. So go with that. And even if it's 2 minutes that you start off with, and then it becomes 3 minutes, and then it becomes 5 minutes, and then it's 15 minutes. Every day, just tune into yourself. Surround yourself with that beautiful green light, and it may feel really warm and tingly and loving. And then you send it to the other animal, and then you ask for the permission, because that's important too, asking permission.
Yes.
Because we don't just, you know, knock on someone's door, open it up and walk through their house straight away. We don't. We knock on the door and we wait. Someone opens the door and they may invite you in.
Yeah.
The same is when we connect to the animals too. Because I have had animals say, no, not now. Oh, okay. So I'll need to come back to you then. So I've had to move, schedule appointments with clients because the animal was not ready to talk. And that can happen. And we go with that. Cats in particular, they're a bit funny.
Sure.
Yes. But that's definitely the basic. Absolutely. Coming back to yourself.
Ruth says too that her biggest struggle is connecting to source. Would love to know some tips to foster that connection, if you could expand on that.
Yeah, connecting to source. What comes to my mind right now is trust. Trust and interference. We all are connected to source every second of every day, because that's how we operate. Our soul is always connected. We are always connected already. And a great example is, for example, when you think of a person for a few days and all of a sudden the phone rings and they're on the phone, where you think, oh my God, I was just about to call you, right? We are already connected.
Absolutely.
And that's usually the best example. Now, things that we experience or the things that we believe, perhaps incorrectly, may prevent the connection to source.
Yes.
It will prevent the connection to source, right? Not trusting what you're doing or not trusting that you are connecting also prevents that openness. And it's not necessarily preventing the connection, because as I said, we are connected. It prevents you from listening what is coming through. I'll give you an example. My dog passed away this week, and 2 months before that, his sister passed away. And I could not hear them. Around those events, I couldn't hear them. So I had other animal communicators talk to them. Because like Edward says, it's okay to ask for help sometimes. And even though I know I can do this, and I was always connecting to them all day around the house, you know, they were always chatting to me. We always had conversations, and it was very easy and didn't make any effort. It just happened. But around that time, because it was such an emotional experience, that emotion, that was what I was experiencing in those moments, prevented me from hearing them, feeling them, connecting with them. So I needed to get someone else in for me to ask them, what would you like me to do? How are you feeling right now? What is the best thing I can do for you? And that was hard, very hard. But that emotion was blocking me from hearing. I know I was connected, but that emotion blocked me. So whenever you go into a connection, again, breathe, come to yourself, to your heart. And even if you have thoughts coming up that might prevent it, write them down, write them off, you know, away from you, so that they're not in that space. An emotion that may come up, acknowledge it and say, thank you so much for being here. Now I just want to feel, I just want to be in my own heart. And that will open you more, allowing that information to come through and sink in. And trust is a big one. Like I said, information comes through so quickly that we may not capture it, or we don't believe it because it was too quick. But trust that it is the right thing that you're hearing or feeling. Absolutely. Great question.
That's good advice. So we've got Sharon here's got a question. She says, my dog is totally into me and all that I do for her. My husband is wonderful, but she's been the carer of the dog from little puppy. The first 2 years she was totally mine, then my husband became the star in her life. She's so loving with him, and although she loves me, she cuddles him and spends more time with him than she does me. So obviously I often wondered about it. She's a great communicator and she's always telling me to do or what she wants. This adoring part to my husband just seems so interesting.
It's that can certainly be adoration and love, but animals are so tuned in that they go to the person who needs them in those moments. And animals help because they provide healing. So maybe your husband is going through something deep down that, you know, your dog is definitely tuning into, and is there for him in those moments. So I'm just reading that again. And just tune in. Yeah, she's extremely caring. She loves both of you so much. There is an enormous amount of pink and green light that's coming from her surrounding both of you. There is already an element of a decision that's going to be made, and she's supporting that process for a decision to be made. And it's quite a decision that can be life-changing that's happening right now. In a good way. It feels very positive and uplifting and full of energy. I can't feel any heaviness around that. But she's definitely supporting that process. And she resonates really well with your husband at the moment because your husband has a nice, grounded, mellow energy. And that's what she's supporting as well. And she needs that for herself right now too. She feels sometimes a little bit, I can see her sort of floating and she needs a bit of groundedness. So when she's with your husband, she gets that groundedness as well. And that's what she resonates with right now. So that's really beautiful.
Okay, so is there anyone on the Zoom call who would like Bianca to connect with your animals? If there is, please just type a message in and I'll unmute you so that you can talk to us. Sue Pedlar, okay.
Yes, Ruth, the trust issue, absolutely.
So, Sue, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Okay, so tell Bianca a little bit about your animal and we'll see what comes up, eh?
I have a 10-month-old pup. When we got her, she was an extremely quiet dog. We met her a couple of times before we got her. We are of the opinion that the dog was sedated when we got her. Then she became extremely... She wasn't a pup that you could hold. She was always biting, and I mean aggressively biting, but not biting as in attacking us, just having to bite all the time. So we would then counteract that with giving her a toy. She's now a very, we call her the ADHD dog, in that she's very busy. So I don't find that she's manic. I just sort of find it that if I put my hands out and shake them, that she's sort of like that all the time. She now has this need to, when she's with us a lot, to be able to run around with a toy in her mouth. I find it hard to connect to her, and that's probably a lot to do with me as well. I'm getting emotional when you guys are talking today about the emotions. It's like, whoa. She's 10 months. We let her have one season. She came into season fairly early, and we've just had a spade. She's just gone through, it's a couple of days ago, a really awful experience with that. She got spayed early in the morning, and that wasn't until about 1 o'clock the next morning that she actually stopped fairly violently shaking through all of that. So just sort of now trying to get her back up. Recently started her on some flower essences to see how that will help her. And so I think even just with the training, I find that I can't connect with her, but I can have a trainer that will actually connect with her and be able to heal and things like that. She always sort of, when I'm walking with her, it's always wanting to keep on going forward, and she turns her head away from me when we're doing that, so I know it's the sort of thing saying, no, I don't want to listen to you. So I sort of would like to be able to just connect with more, know what is going on with her and what I can actually do.
She is a dog that would love to have a job. She feels a little bit lost because she doesn't know what you expect of her, and she hasn't been given a job to do. She loves to work, and that's where she needs to get rid of her energy as well. That's why she's so hyper. Yeah. She's all over the place. Her energy is very scattered. Now, with that surgery, she will mellow down a little bit, but still she's searching for a purpose. She hasn't got that right now. The reason why she's not looking at you for leadership is that you are not truly standing in your own power, and you're not able to provide leadership right now. And that is a learning for you. You have to say, hey, I am your leader. I am your pack leader. And let's do something together that both makes us feel purposeful. And the jobs that she's looking for is caring, loving, and something that she can really get rid of her energy, because she wants to be exhausted at the end of the day and feel absolutely fulfilled and excited about it. That's where she's coming from. And she's saying as well that she wants to do that with you.
So when you say caring, loving, and energy,
she's a nurturer at the same time. So she wants to do the work, but she's a nurturer as well.
So I'm just trying to understand with what I need to be able to do with when you say to have a purpose and job and caring and loving. So, yeah, sort of not really knowing what to do there with that, whether it's some type of work with her as in agility type of thing. Is that what we're referring to?
Oh, she would love that. Agility is awesome. She loves the exercise. I can also see, the dog walking as well, but helping others at the same time whilst being active. And I can see things like a job similar to going into a nursing home or even a hospital to help the children. She's got that childlike fun energy around her as well, and that helps her to give back. Or even a hospital to help children. She's got that childlike fun energy around her as well, and that helps her to give back.
Hang on a second while I mute someone else.
Yeah, it was a bit of a delay in that one.
Sorry, no.
Yeah, we have another person's microphone just joined, and they were not. The microphone.
Okay, it's basically provide her with leadership. So
definitely, yeah, because that's also where she feels a little bit lost. There isn't a clear structure in the household either. So that also needs to be addressed, and she wants that to be you. She wants you to be the pack leader, because you guys now are together because you're teaching each other how to stand in your power, to be a leader, to be really positive and focusing on great work that you'll be doing together.
Okay, that's great.
And she's beautiful. Thank you.
She's a lovely girl. And,
Let me know how you go in the next couple of days to see if there's a slight shift in her energy and how she feels and what she's doing.
Okay, will do. Thank you. I really do appreciate that.
Thanks, Sue.
Okay, Sue, thanks so much for that. I'm just going to mute you again. Do you want to do one more?
Wow. She made me feel really warm and loving. It's amazing.
Would you like to do another one?
Yes, why not? Let's do it.
One more. So we got from PC, who's on
Who do we have?
We'll find out what your name is. Can you hear us there? Whoever's got the name PC on Zoom, could you?
Yeah, hello.
Oh, there you are.
How you going, Dr. Edward and Bianca? It's Jemay here.
Hello.
Hi,
Thank
Jemay.
you for the opportunity to do this. My dog, Marley, she's just gone 4 years old. She's been seeing Dr. Edward for about 15 months or so now. Quite a complex case. I know that there's stuff that I'm going through that she's taken on, as well as she has, vaccinosis that Dr. Edward and another vet have identified. So she struggles, like she's manically itchy, and it has reduced in its severity, but she still is itching, and she still is scratching and biting herself. She's still extremely itchy. Yeah, I know because I've worked with a shaman that she has taken on board my stuff. But I guess it's just, and I know that so part of her healing is me healing myself. But I guess it's just in terms of I'm interested in if there's anything that she has to say to me in terms of the whole process. And I know that when I got her, I was going through a healing crisis myself, and so I wasn't conscious with her. And I think as a consequence, some of these behaviourisms have resulted because of my unconsciousness. And I'm not saying that I'm completely conscious of them now, because I'm not. But it's been quite a struggle the last, I guess, 3 years or so, with her itchiness and ear infections and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you can shed some light on that, that would be great. Thanks, Bianca.
You're welcome. Wow, very old soul. Quite mellow and relaxed. Her voice is very low pitched as well. She's almost got like a husky voice. And she's actually carried something forward from her previous life that she's still dealing with right now. And when you were talking about the itchiness, something came up around plants, like a flowery plant. Have you got a backyard where you've got a plant that she might be allergic to as well?
No, not really. There's some garden beds and mainly grass, but there's nothing that's really flowery and anything. Yeah.
Because she's telling me that every time she goes out, the itchiness becomes a lot worse. So there is something in the environment that adds to the itchiness as well. And it is a really sensitive. And she also says that the sounds that she hears are almost amplified for her. So she's trying to balance out how to level the noise that comes through. So everything that she hears is louder than compared to other dogs that they're hearing. So for her, it's like 3-4 times louder. And that causes, that pain. It's almost like that's the pain that she's sensing, that she's feeling as well. She's very sensitive. She's also telling me to ask you to slow down.
Yeah.
She's concerned about your speed in life. You want things too quickly, too soon. Be patient. Because the itchiness is also around that speed because the time for her to heal, she needs the time to heal. And she wants you to allow her to heal and to focus on herself with everything that's going through. The flower essences she absolutely loves because she says it also helps her with her vibration in her energy. Yeah. So the essences don't just work at a physical level for her, but they also support her energetically. Yeah. And she says even beyond her discomfort, when that gets less and less, she still wants to continue the flower essences route. She absolutely loves that.
Okay. Dr. Emma can help with that.
I can.
Are they the Australian bush flowers?
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. I love them. Yeah, she's really asking you to slow down. Almost to what you might sense as slow motion speed is the right speed for you. Yeah. She loves Edward. Absolutely adores him.
Oh, that's nice.
Absolutely. I can see me just hugging that. And she loves being in his energy and space.
Yeah.
The other vet, she's sort of like, yeah. Because she's not a person of traditional ways. Her soul really resonates with the alternative healing and the wisdom that brings. So the wisdom that Earth brings through the natural healing processes is what she really resonates with. But she says it takes time for my body to come into alignment with that. Yeah, so the main message is be patient, slow down, and allow her to heal at her own pace. Yeah. Beautiful. She's amazing. Wow. She shows up like an old, wise Indian woman. That's how she presents herself to me.
Old, like when you talk to her, she like moves her head and like she's really like listening to what you say and stuff. But there is a hyperactive element to her as well because she's transfixed on balls and but yeah, like I think she sort of has to. I don't like not allow her to do that because I think she's got a lot of energy to burn off. But yeah, there's a very deep side to her as well.
Yeah, beautiful. Awesome.
Thank you very much for that.
Okay, so I'm going to mute you tonight.
Wow.
Okay, so I think we're kind of coming to the end. So I'd like to thank you very much. It's been a lovely conversation today. And everyone who's listening, thanks so much for being part of the show today.
Yes, thank you so much, Edward, for providing the space for us to do this. It's absolutely been amazing, and it's wonderful to serve in this way. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank you all the people that have listened in or going to listen in. If you have any questions whatsoever, send me a private message or you can email me, bianca@biancadereus.com. So feel free to get in touch with me. Look forward to hearing from you.
And De Reus is D-E and then R-E-U-S.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, good memory.
Oh, my last name's Bassingthwaighte. Your name's easy.
Yes, that's right.
And Bianca's also just written a book which you can pre-order.
Yes.
You know?
It's called Hello, Can You Hear Me? And it talks about animal communication, obviously, but it also talks about spiritual connection, my story, and it has some practical activities in here for you to already start to tune into yourself and the animals. So it's not just a reading book. So I warn you, it comes with a disclaimer. You have to do work.
Do things. And,
but yeah, it's up for pre-order at the moment. It's literally just published, and I've got a limited supply that I've ordered directly from the publisher. So if you would like to receive a signed copy by me, then hop onto my website, biancadereus.com/book, and you can place an order for a signed copy. And a percentage of the proceeds of the book go to the Little Urchins Sanctuary in Victoria. A lovely couple are looking after all the herd and wildlife, including kangaroos. So I'm donating a percentage of the book to them as well.
Awesome. And do you teach? And if so, when do you teach and how do you teach?
So I teach online most of the time. So I've got an online course, and next year I'm looking to do some workshops again as well, physical workshops. But mostly it's online. So we can do a one-on-one, absolutely. I can teach you one-on-one on animal communication, the self-paced course online, and I'm also launching a mastery course for people who have done the initial online course and who would like to apply animal communication further into their life, or if you have an animal service business, such as being a dog groomer or a vet, or you walk dogs, or any other rescue perhaps, and you would like to apply animal communication into that, then the mastery course would be amazing for you. And that kicks off early next year.
And Sue's just asking, will you be doing physical workshops in Melbourne next year?
I'd love to. I'd love to. So we're definitely looking at doing some workshops next year, because I'm also going to do a tour for the book. So, you know, workshops in alignment with that is absolutely amazing. So we'll keep you posted on that.
Maybe we'll have to do a weekend and do a day of you and a day of me and have all sorts of fun.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. Yes.
Just found a hotel in the middle of Melbourne that you can bring dogs into and do workshops and stuff. So
excellent.
Be in touch.
Let's do it.
Posted with that, because it'd be really interesting to do a day of communication and a day of energy healing.
Wonderful.
And on a weekend, do a sort of joint effort, a bit of fun. Okay, so that's something we'll keep in touch with that. And I'm Dr. Edward, I'm the healing vet. I can, you know, here's my little call to action too. If you want help with your pet's health, give me a yell. I'd love to help. And I also teach whole energy body balance, which is a body work and energy work method for animals. And I'm teaching the body work stream on the 17th and 18th of November, and teaching energy work for the first time ever on the 25th. And those are all, if you're not in Melbourne, they'll be streaming live as well, so you can actually join us and do the training, whether you can make it in person or not. So thanks again, Bianca. It's been really lovely.
You are so welcome. It was my absolute pleasure and honor to be here today. Oh, thank you.
So I'm going to stop the recording and say goodbye. Thanks for everyone who's listening.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you just hang around for a bit, Bianca, I'm going to...
Yep, will do.
Just do a little bit of... I need enough cider. So here we are ending the live video on Facebook now. So this is ending number 2.